7, vote on 9, and vote on 10.
And we'll just say, and we'll discuss 10, the plat as part of the public
Okay.
hearing. That might just be easier.
But we need a
for-
separate vote.
Yeah. But you can talk about it probably just whole at that point in time and not have to listen to things again.
Gotcha.
So you're green,
Good. Good morning. I would call the May 21st, 2024 Planning Commission meeting to order. Inform the public of the Open Meetings Act in the northwest corner and ask for roll.
Wait,
Here.
Sock, Bryant, Hupkey, Franklin, Cubey, Griffith, Mason, Ronfeld.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Ask for approval of the full agenda.
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second.
All commissioners present voting in the affirmative. Motion carries.
And consideration of the approval of the minutes of the May 7th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting.
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second.
All commissioners present voting in the affirmative. Motion carries.
At this time, I'd like to open up the public hearings for RD, at the request of RDK Holding on item number 6 and 8, and also as part of the public hearings, the consideration of the final plat of RDK addition, so we don't have to take them up separately as far as conversation is concerned.
Good morning, Planning Commission members.
Morning.
Appreciate the opportunity to discuss this property with you guys.
If you just want to turn on your mic and state your name for the record,
Nate Burnett, Re-Engineering.
just press
there's a
the
little-
button on the.
There we go.
Thank you.
Nate Burnett, Re-Engineering, 601 Old Cheney Road, Lincoln, Nebraska, on behalf of Ron Oberg and the applicant. Before you this morning is a couple different things. Final plat, as you mentioned, a change of zone request, as well as a waiver to the overlay for landscaping. I'll just kind of talk about those all in conjunction. So currently the property is zoned I-1. There's C3 adjacent to the north, the Raising Canes, the Aspen Dental. And so we are requesting to have the parcel rezoned to C3, which would be contiguous to those adjacent properties. In the future master plan, this is C3 as well, so we're essentially requesting kind of to be in conformance with that future master plan. That's the zoning. The proposed plat is taking that existing parcel, splitting it into 2 lots for 2 different drive-throughs. The east would be a proposed Freddy's. The west one would be a drive-through coffee shop. And so as part of basically that final plat, we are requesting a waiver for a reduction in landscaping. The requirement is 10 feet there along West Omaha Avenue. We are requesting a reduction from 10 feet to 7 feet. I would say it's important to note that that difference in square footage that we're requesting a reduction on, we're taking that same square footage and applying it to Highway 81. That right-of-way. And so we're not necessarily asking for a complete reduction. We're saying, hey, can we reduce from 10 feet to 7 feet? Then we'll take that, increase the landscaping on the east side of the property. What that does for us, because this parcel is kind of long and not very deep, is it allows us to meet the setbacks, allows us to have the proper drive aisles, the proper ability for the site to function in terms of traffic flow for these different drive-throughs. And so, you know, as you've probably driven by a bunch of times, it's all parking lot, there's no landscaping, so we believe this is going to be a wonderful addition, and is going to really kind of clean up that corner to have some nice landscaping as you come in there. And I guess with that, I'd request if you have any questions.
How do you feel about the access to the property? I mean, getting into it, getting out of it. I mean, where would your kind of entrances, exits be, and that kind of thing?
Sure. So I feel really good about the traffic flow. We've got two entrances. So we've got, the ability to come off Johnny Carson. We've also got the access off Omaha there. Having kind of that frontage road to the west as well, I think will help flow. I believe there's that property owners here with some stuff as well today. But a lot of times you might get only one access along a state highway, and to have two, I think is going to benefit us really well.
Mm-hmm. Is that backside the kind of the top left there? And would that be a exit entrance point as well?
That would be the top left would be a exit only.
Okay.
And that's something that we're going to be discussing with the property owner. We actually were a part of the Canes and the Aspen Dental and the Med Express several years ago, and so we had worked with him on access easement. So we will have a short little access easement there. But yes, on the north side, as you go from east to west, that would be a drive aisle, either from Johnny Carson or to the drive-through coffee shop, or as you're exiting to be able to go over to that private drive to the west.
Okay, thank you.
And Val, as far as the waiver goes,
Yeah, so you guys have that same thing that we put in front of you the last time we did this, those 4 hardships that you need to have answered, essentially based on mainly the shape of the lot, the narrowness, what is the hardship based on the land, not necessarily the cost of anything like the previous one. So, he can try to
I do have
help
those.
you.
if you'd want to go through those
Yeah.
for us, that'd be great.
Sure. So number 1, the strict application of the zoning regulation would produce undue hardship. In our minds, that is, true. It's a long lot. It's not very deep. By the time you have a 40-foot front setback, 25-foot setback in the back, almost half the lot is already, kind of a little bit unusable just because of those setbacks. With the 10-foot landscaping, to be able to have a nice traffic flow for a 24-foot drive aisle, which would be your typical, to line it up with the frontage road to the west. Again, we're requesting that slight reduction. And so in our minds, if we reduce that drive aisle, it's just going to really pinch things down. It's going to be difficult for vehicles parking on that south side as they back up. We don't want them backing up to people that are in that drive-through lane. Number 2, is this hardship generally or not shared by others? I would say that's true. This is a corner lot, so it has some additional two setbacks, two front setbacks that a typical lot wouldn't have, where you'd have your typical sides, your front and your rear. And so being a corner lot, there's a few additional things there, especially abutting two highways. And so, that would be undue hardship that most properties don't have to deal with. Number 3, the authorization of such variance will not substantially be a detriment to adjacent property and the character of the district. Again, we're saying true because even though we are requesting that slight reduction along Omaha Avenue, we're just taking that same square footage and we're applying it to the east. So really, yes, we're requesting a variance, but we're actually kind of just saying, hey, can we shift it from the south to the east? And as I mentioned before, I think the landscape plan that we're showing here is going to be far more aesthetically pleasing than just the car lot that's been there for a long time, no landscaping. So we don't believe that will be a detriment to the property. And then lastly, the granting of such variance is based upon reason of demonstrable and exceptional hardship from variations, not from convenience or profit. Again, because of the two highways, the two setbacks, we're not necessarily benefiting from requesting this other than from a profit standpoint, because we're taking that same square footage and applying it somewhere else. So we're not saying, hey, we don't want to pay for landscaping. Hey, we don't want to make sure this looks nice. We're saying, hey, can we just adjust this from the south side to the east side? And so, having the ability to have a good traffic flow is going to benefit the site.
I appreciate that. Any other questions? Everything on your end, Val, is complete and good to
Yeah,
go?
this is okay with us. And with that slight reduction, as he calls it, from 10 to, this shows 8, 7 to 8, the same trees and shrubs are still being included in there as if it were 10. So the actual plant material isn't being reduced at all. And I believe you guys asked for elevations too. Do you want me to pop those
Sure.
up and show those to you too? Let me bring those up.
This would be the elevation for Freddy's, the proposed east lot. And then
Oops. Oh, no.
the west lot, which is the drive-through coffee shop, is a 7 brew.
Let me try that again. My computer ran out of space, I guess. Maybe. Nope. Sorry, it's being finicky today. There we go.
So that would be south elevation. So there's basically the cooler storage on the right side, the main building there in the middle, and then a canopy, which would be on the west side for vehicles to drive under when they're picking up their coffee or drink. That would be looking from the north to the south. One of the main points, with these buildings is kind of that wayfinding in terms of, as you can see, obviously the logo on the main part, but also kind of that wayfinding. So, hey, drive-throughs over here, typical.
And there, as far as the aesthetically appropriate facet, whatever, on the actual building?
The materials, yeah, if you zoom in closer, and actually, let me just pop down to there's a materials board. So they have like the the gray that you were seeing, that darker gray, is the brick paneling. So they, as long as you're meeting that 30% preferred material of brick, stone, wood, glass, they would be okay with that.
Any other questions for this gentleman? Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We are still open to the public hearings. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Seeing none, I'll close both public hearings and open it up for discussion.
I think it'll be great to see a zoning change there, to commercial from industrial, and, obviously cleaning up the property too. For one of the busiest areas of town, definitely a needed change. Will be good for people coming in, looking at it, so.
I would concur.
I'll make a motion to approve the zoning change from I-1 to C3 on property addressed as 1202 South 13th Street.
Second that motion.
We have a motion and a second.
All commissioners voting in the affirmative, motion carries.
This would be item number 9. We would vote on the waiver. I like the fact that it's not financially driven.
Yeah.
It's just making more sense of the use of the property. Right, as opposed to what many other waivers call for.
I think it also makes more sense hearing Val say that the material they're using in the plant's life is not actually going to resemble any sort of difference.
Right. The square footage is still going to be the same.
Make a motion to have city staff prepare a resolution for discussion and action at the next regularly scheduled planning commission meeting to allow a waiver of the highway overlay district requirements on property addressed as 1202 South 13th Street.
We have a motion and a second.
All commissioners voting in the affirmative, motion carries.
No further discussion, I would move to recommend the final plat of RDK addition.
Second.
Motion and a second.
All commissioners voting in the affirmative, motion carries.
This time I'll open up the public hearing, excuse me, at the request of JMN Business Venture LLC for a conditional use permit to operate recreational vehicles and equipment sales and repair on property addressed as 1308 West Omaha Avenue. Morning.
Morning.
Will you turn your mic on, Mr. Fitzgerald?
Long bar,
Is it not on?
No,
Yep, just press the, yep,
long bar, yeah.
Can you hear me now?
one more time. There you go.
thank you.
Turned green, okay. I'm Mark Fitzgerald, I'm a lawyer here in Norfolk, I represent JMN. JMN has recreational vehicle sales. JMN seeks a CUP in what is a highway corridor overlay district. We think, and this is the old O.L. Shears Ace Hardware Building, right next to the corner you were just talking about, and depicted there, JMN wants to use this building and this area for recreational vehicle sales. It is my pleasure to introduce one of the owners of JMN, Mariah Nelson, and Mariah will, I think, kind of go through what her intention is with regard to the building and what her intention is with regard to accommodating highway corridor requirements. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for the opportunity to hear our request this morning. First, I'll start with telling who we are as Red 10 RV Sales. He referred to us as JMN Business Venture. We have a DBA of Red 10 RV Sales. Red 10 RV Sales is a full RV dealership where we sell, service, and offer financing for RVs and trailers and other recreational items such as golf carts, electric scooters, and more. We sell the industry's #1 selling manufacturer line of Grand Design RVs. We purchased the business last October from the prior owner, who successfully ran the operation for 7 years here in Norfolk. We are happy to continue on the great business legacy that he has begun for several years to come. The proven industry standards and practices we have acquired from our commitment to a national Spader 20 group of the top RV dealers in the industry. We currently operate out of a leased premises at 1920 Glen Street in Norfolk. This location has worked great for our needs, but has not allowed us a premier display facility that we believe would better enhance the business and serve the public. We currently also maintain an RV storage location where we house our extra RV inventory, of which we would continue to maintain at this new business location. How do we benefit the community? First, we employ 22 full-time employees with good earnings and offer them a full line of full-time benefits, including health insurance, dental vision, paid time off, and the like. We display a premium, elegant, and desirable product with a median new sales price of $80,000. Under prior ownership, sales equated to 12 to 14 million in annual sales revenue per year. We aim to grow our operation and budget for $18 million in total sales this year in sales revenue, with continued growth in the future. This is additional sales tax earning for the state of Nebraska and also for the county in terms of part sales. A better established interior parts display in a higher traffic location allows for increased part sales and thus increased county earnings via sales tax. We own and operate currently an affiliate dealership, which is Gavins Point Recreational Center, that we started in Yankton, South Dakota. It has been in operation for 4 years. Our two dealerships together put us in a position to have a good inventory of sought after RVs and parts. In Yankton County, for our Gavins Point Recreational Center, when we went for our conditional use permit hearing, they approved our conditional use 4 years ago, and they have been satisfied with our presence in the community and compliance with the CUP. They even offered us property tax abatement in exchange for the additional sales tax revenue we have generated for the county, although we weren't even requesting it. Again, we are not asking for that here, but it attests to the opportunity that it provides the county for sales tax revenue. We offer a means of servicing RVs and give the ability for RV owners to have local customer pay and warranty repairs completed in the community here of Norfolk, rather than having to haul their RVs to travel to bigger cities to have those repairs completed. Another benefit is that there would no longer be a big empty building sitting vacant, but rather improved and maintained. So our facility plans I wanted to touch on. We plan to operate sales and service out of the current building. We can operate both sales and servicing facilities out of the building as is. However, we would like to replace the white metal building currently located on the west side. You can see it there in the picture, and rather build an addition that connects a similar sized building to that one, to the existing facility, that would appear more permanent and more appealing to the eyes. This is not necessary to begin operations, but would be an added benefit. In terms of landscaping, we are open and willing to landscaping and suggestions. We are needing as much space as possible with all the current easements present within the property lines, which are shown in the white on the depiction, but would love to add, maintain, and alter existing landscaping to improve aesthetic appearance. You'll notice in the images that there is, unlike that corner lot that we just kind of looked at previously, there is quite a bit of landscaping in this area. There's a nice shelter. It certainly needs improved and maintained, but it very well shelters the parking area of that lot. So. This is a long-term investment of which we plan to invest over $2.5 million in the purchase and renovations and improvements we have planned for the property. With such an investment, we do require a long-term means of operations to cover our investment here in Norfolk. We do need a permanent conditional use permit at this facility for RV sales and servicing. What kind of questions can I help with?
Do you think this will be like, compared to where you're at, will you have less campers displayed in the area? Or, I mean, just kind of comparing the one property to this property?
Sure. Comparatively, we really like that this gives us a better exterior display of campers. We would not look to add additional units, but just have a better exterior display. We pride ourselves currently on our indoor showroom location, and at this property, it does allow for an indoor showroom location as well, where we'll be having several of the RVs inside. But this also allows us to display similar to where we're at now, but in a better fashion, a more organized fashion.
As far as how long are these RVs or
Sure.
campers?
There, as you'll see in the image there, I have different sizes because there are several variances in sizes. We go, some of our RVs start as small as 18 foot and they can go up to 44 foot in length.
And just, this is just from my standpoint of traffic and flow, that's a hair of a congested area, just trying to get to Taco Bell, so to speak. Is there any concern with the ability with the flow of traffic and getting RVs in and out, especially with the servicing aspect of that?
I think the frontage road in the front provides a really nice avenue for limiting that congestion with that. You can't see it so much on the picture, but there is a nice frontage road in front of our entire property there where it takes it off the main highway once they get on that frontage road.
If I could speak to that for just a little bit, and this may be not quite on point, but the easement depicted on the image there is an easement between at least three parties. The owners of the lot in the upper right, the owner of the lot below that, and then the O.L. Shear owner lot. And that easement is...
And also the Taco John's.
And also the Taco John's.
Yep.
Yeah, Taco Bell, excuse me. And that easement exists. And so that easement cannot be obstructed as far as moving things in and out, because that would interfere with the ingress and egress. And it's a three-party recorded easement. And it was, I'm assuming it was the property owners thought about congestion, exactly what you were just talking about, that they do that. And so that easement exists. That, for one thing, mattered to Mariah with respect to her plans with respect to the white metal building that's there now, is that green corner that's in the upper left-hand side there. That can't happen because that would obstruct the easement. So she's had to reconsider long-term what she thought she was going to do. But I just wanted to respond with respect to that recorded easement and what's depicted there.
Can I ask a question? The northwest easement, that ends at the west property boundary, correct?
Yes.
Because that's a private parking lot street on the west side.
Yes.
I don't understand what good the easement would do you if it just gets you to the adjacent property.
I don't know also actually on the Taco Bell side, I believe that easement extends from Taco Bell to give that inlet outlet to the mall. That's what it's servicing. That's what that easement is servicing, is there's a lot of people coming from the mall there that cut through the property.
From my understanding, that's private. It's not a public street.
Oh, sure.
I guess that's would be a question for Val, I guess, at that point, but that's one of my concerns, I guess, is the traffic flow just cutting through the mall parking lot instead of using the actual inlet, you know. That's my concern, is with that frontage road, but then it's just easy to go right up through Taco Bell, through the mall, you know, and out that other way because it's not as tight quarters with a 45-foot camper on the back. So that, I mean, that's one of my concerns, I guess, but I just don't want it to make it a, you know, as far as just, oh, it's just easier to come up through here and.
I would say the other thing too, in terms of servicing, they are big products. We also service mobilely, so we're not always servicing on our facility site. There are times where we're servicing customer units on our site, but the number of customer units typically at our dealership premises is fewer than 10 in terms of total repairs. We also have that additional storage lot location where we will house extra service RVs and those kinds of things, if that helps answer that question.
And the storage lot currently, where is that?
It's behind Complete Floors, so out by our current location.
Oh, okay.
We're looking at other storage avenues that may be closer, but that's been a long-term rental.
As far as parking goes, is that sufficient in your opinion, and then with you two, Val, for the property?
Is there a requirement on parking?
Yeah, I wasn't for sure.
I don't know for that, it's an honest question.
There will be a parking requirement. I did not look that up.
Because it's zoned, what's it zoned currently?
I-1. So for automobile, truck, RV, mobile home sales, and rental lots, one parking space for each 2,000 square feet of open sales lot area devoted to sale, display, and rental of said vehicles, plus one parking space for each employee. So whatever that adds up to, I don't know how many square feet you have for sale, display, and rental. And then how many employees you have. I mean, you said you had 20, but are they all there at the same time? I mean,
Some are off-site, but of the office is off-site, but of the, and we have different shift changes, but altogether there would be roughly 15 employees there most times.
so you'd need at least 15
Right.
plus one for every 2,000 square feet of sale, display, and rental of vehicles.
And for customer parking and employee parking, we have the space over to, on the east side. There's customer parking spaces there. We also planned to put additional parking in you see those 3 campers in kind of the front or the south side of the building, right to the west or east of that. There's additional room for parking there that's outside of the easement area.
Okay. All right.
There's also on the east side of the easement, of the east easement, there's additional parking spaces as well. Do you mind showing the other images that I had sent you, and I can kind of talk through those and see if those would help answer some questions as well. So I wanted to show kind of the current existing building and some of the landscaped areas as well that heavily needs maintenance right now. So that's one grass area on the east side. That's the tree coverage in the front. They are nice mature trees that do help shade that parking. I know that's been a big concern on the highway corridor, is just the amount of parking lot that you see and not really wanting to see the vehicles, but rather some nice landscaping and aesthetics. And although this area needs maintained, it is very mature in that it provides a nice coverage of that lot. And that's just some more pictures to depict that. And that's where we would look to probably to improve the landscaping there, but with mature tree coverage. That's some additional landscaping and parking over there. That's easement area kind of where we're looking at. Okay, and then I sent you some pictures as well of like our product inventory to show you an idea of what would be displayed there. We provide nice spacing between the units to really space things out appropriately. And some of the interior display of current trailers. Our golf carts.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I guess just as far as landscaping goes, with you guys being in the highway corridor overlay, do you guys have a plan for landscaping?
We're very open to landscaping suggestions and in investing in the landscaping to improve it, and also to correspond with everything that's been set up in the highway corridor. We'd like to meet all of the obligations of the highway corridor in terms of landscaping, so as whatever would be necessary to make that happen.
As far as the aesthetics go, does that trigger anything, or would that just controlled by the cup? There's just, as far as like if they, with the building itself, would they have to make those improvements?
Once you put that addition on there, yeah, that would really trigger that, doing something to the building.
Correct.
So, I mean, if you wanted to play it safe, I mean, you could certainly put that in as a condition just to make sure that that happens. Do you know when that might be?
We would look to put that addition on within the next year. Currently, the highway corridor, I've read, through the highway corridor requirements that spell out the requirements of what would need to be met, and we fall in parameter of what we'd be looking to do there within that. It's currently a white metal building there, so I think the addition would certainly be seen as an improvement in that it would connect it, and it would be of more permanent nature than a white metal building sitting there. But it would be connected and look more in nature to the existing building. You can see on the easement, we had a surveyor drew up this map that we were looking at, and in that surveyed area, that's where he identified that we would need to reduce the building that we're looking at putting there, and so we planned to reduce to make sure that we're compliant with those setbacks, and also form the building smaller to stay outside of that easement area.
Any other questions? Thank you. This is still a public hearing. Is there anyone else that would want to speak on behalf of this topic? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, open it up for discussion. Just, to be frank with everything, I don't want to detract businesses from being here. I don't. to me, it's an aesthetic thing. I don't know if it's necessarily something that I just personally would want right there with 25 or whatever campers. They're beautiful campers. I'm not detracting from the product itself. I guess there's just some hesitancy on my part to, on just, my personal opinion on it. And maybe a little with the parking is a concern as far as customers and employees go, because it's gonna be a tight space with the more campers you have and the less parking. As far as, I don't know how big the building is. And then the flow of traffic is just into the mall is just another concern of mine.
I agree with Chairman Waite. We're eliminating a car sales lot, a used car sales lot, and gaining an RV sales lot. It just kind of detracts from the benefit of eliminating the used car sales lot there on the corner.
Specifically with the overlay district, we're very picky at what comes in and what comes out. I want it to be clear that I don't like this decision as far as having to, address my opinion, because they're beautiful campers. I want to be able to support the business, but it's and just an aesthetic thing for me.
Yeah, and I guess where I come from too is, entering and exiting the property, as far as the areas you have identified there. The landscaping, obviously, each one we go through, we have to look at it with a fine-tooth comb, because, that's a very high trafficked area, so we want it to be able to meet the requirements there. And then, like we said, as far as parking goes, it just doesn't seem like enough parking, but you kind of have to do the math as far as what is required for that. So it just feels like a very unfinished right now request.
One of my concerns would be that area where there's that existing landscaping with those trees. In this display, it shows RVs pulled up right to it. Those trees would definitely block the RVs. And as a business owner, you're not going to want your product to be blocked from the main highway. And so down the road, what would happen to those trees?
I would take a motion.
Make a motion to,
Yes.
Should I abstain from this since the storage where they keep their overflow of campers is my husband's property?
I would say yes.
I would,
Well,
yeah, just to be safe, I would say, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
make a motion to have city staff prepare a conditional use permit for discussion and action at the next regularly scheduled planning commission meeting for recreational vehicle sales and repair.
We have a motion and a second.
Voting in opposition, Franklin, Ronfelt, Waite, Mason, and Griffith. Abstaining, Sock. Motion fails.
I will open up the public hearing to amend section 656-52 of the official city code to adopt the 2023 National Electrical Code.
All right, I will tackle this one. So in this legislative, what do you call it? They adopted, the state adopted the 2023 electrical code. So because they did that, now we have to update from the 2017 to the 2023 National Electrical Code. They did make a couple amendments to keep stuff from the 17 into the 23. And so that's why you see as adopted and amended by the state of Nebraska. So we are adopting exactly what they adopted at the state level. If there's any questions.
This is a public hearing, if anyone would like to speak on behalf of it. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Open it up for discussion. I guess I just
And obviously something we have to do here.
state, yeah.
Yeah, I
Now
mean,
it's
it's,
keeping issue
yeah.
in our hands being forced by the state.
yeah. Go ahead and make a motion to amend section 6-52 of the official city code to adopt the 2023 National Electrical Code.
Second that motion.
We have a motion and a second.
All commissioners present voting in the affirmative, motion carries.
Consideration of the recommendation of the final plat of the River Fork Second Subdivision.
Okay, I'll take this one too. I don't know if anybody's
Thank you.
here. So this is out there on Victory Road, just west of where we call it kind of the prime stop area at 275 and 24. Those two cul-de-sacs that probably, I don't know, a year and a half ago, you guys probably did the zone change and the plat. This is the northern cul-de-sac of the two, and you can kind of see in lots 2A, B, 3A, and 3B. The lots that we're looking at today with the solid heavier line, those used to be single-family attached lots also, so you could sell them off each side. They are coming back in and replatting those and taking that center lot line out because they no longer want to do single-family attached to sell off each side, but now put duplexes on there, so it's 2 units on one lot instead of on each separate lot. And technically, you could build across property lines, but they were missing them by 6 to 12 inches. So we thought it best to clean it up and take those lot lines out altogether in case we left them there. And when we're long gone, somebody sees that lot line and tries to sell them off each side, but they didn't quite hit that shared wall, would cause trouble. So that's what is being requested with this plat.
Can you remind me again about what we rezoned that to? Is it R1?
Yeah, I think it went from R1 to R2 because they were just doing duplexes at the time.
And there's already some built out there currently?
Yeah, in the southern,
This is the northern half?
this is the northern cul-de-sac. I believe the southern cul-de-sac is done or almost done with duplexes, yep. And lots 2A, 2B, 3A, and 3B, those are already built on also.
Thank you. I would take a motion.
If there's no further discussion, I would move to approve the final plat of River Fork second subdivision.
We have a motion and a second.
All commissioners present voting in the affirmative, motion carries.
Consideration of the recommendation of the final plat of Midwest Health Partners subdivision. Anyone like to speak on this particular topic?
Mic on?
Yep.
Okay.
you're on.
My name is Seth Lange with Olson's here in town. We're here with Midwest Health Partners, one of their representatives, to discuss the final plat for this lot that is known as kind of the old Salvation Army lot down on about 7th and Norfolk Avenue. What we're looking at here is subdividing the existing lot of the Old Salvation Army lot, or Golden Spike, whatever, however you want to reference this, into two separate lots. One to the west of Lot 2 having a flag lot, and then the additional Lot 1 to the east for Lot 2, and then Lot 1 to the west there. Few additional items that we have on there, outlots 1 and 2. The outlot 1 is a existing green space by the city, and outlot 2 would be some space that would be dedicated to the city to add to the additional green space in that area. If there's any questions, myself or the representative from Midwest Health Partners will answer them.
What's the purpose of the cutout on the left portion there?
It's trying to utilize the space as well as possible to provide some, place the medical office building within that area. And part of it is that those areas to the north and to the south of that area would be part of a land swap with this group, and then also the area that would be outlot 2 as part of a land swap that will eventually be looked at with the city.
So the building would be butted up next to that cutout then, or?
No, it would not be butted up. There'd be some offset to it.
Okay. And then where Lot 2 is, that would be parking?
No, outlot 2?
Yeah. Or no, just
Lot 2,
Yeah.
parking for now, possibly in the future, as this development kind of continues forward, a possible additional building of some kind, office building or of some kind.
The existing Salvation Army building will eventually come down,
Yes, it's in,
then why not build there?
that's where that building is.
So why do
Lot
you?
2 is where
Why
that
do you need
building
to destroy a 6-figure investment in landscaping and sidewalk along the west boundary?
Along the west boundary.
Yeah.
So the new landscaping will be put in that area on the, at the developer's cost.
But we're essentially losing, how many square feet is that?
You're actually gaining square feet of green space. So the initial area that's being cut out there, if I remember correctly, I think it was, what was it?
It's around, what, 6,500 square feet?
Yep. 6,100
61.
square feet, and you're gaining 6,200 square feet with the land swap.
But in a non,
Continuous.
I mean, I just really like this stretch of, I mean, I drive by every day,
And what we're looking at here too is that additional improvements will be done along Brosh to help tie that overall area into. So additional width of the path along there, and additional landscaping along there.
And I have a feeling there's like 5 or 6 trees right there too.
Along Brosh?
Mature trees, right where you're gonna
Along
take,
7th.
along the 7th Street.
Go up there.
I guess I don't understand why it's needed.
Yeah. If you want to come through, Rob, yeah.
And it does appear to me that you're gonna be forced to put in a straight-through sidewalk through there after this was designed and built so aesthetically pleasing along 7th Street there.
It actually isn't. And one of the things that we looked at in the very beginning, when we were at a different subcommittee, we were showing that how the sidewalk layout goes. It actually has the ability to, we keep that swale in the walk, be able to work around, and it kind of extends the parks on both sides, giving us a bigger park areas like up by Norfolk Avenue, which was one of the things that was being spoken for green space, to extend that out front, even though there's no requirement. We had also bend it at the corner at the Brosh and 7th Street corner so that we could have continuous pedestrian flow. The idea was to kind of complete the where Brosh, or the, what do you want to call it, the revitalization on Brosh, where that stopped. We wanted to continue it to bring it around for us so that we could bring pedestrian traffic even up and around to get us back to Norfolk Avenue. And we thought that this really kind of completes that. One of the things that we did see, could we go back to that drawing, Val?
And sir, if you could state your name for the record, please.
I'm sorry, Rob Ronk, and I'm with Midwest Health Partners.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And if you look at how the space is, there's kind of the space that's added on both those north and south ends of the existing on 7th Street. Kind of give it a more squeezed look to the what goes around where the retaining walls would. It's like a garden wall that go around there. And what did we end up with a width on that? Do you remember? Was it 35 or 40 feet? 40 feet. Then it might be just over. So that expanded, but when we added the land on to extend the green space, it actually expanded the park area. So it isn't a long area, and it starts to give this continuation of parks as it goes around. And as you go down Brosh Avenue at the top, it's got like a 44-inch walk that's going down that walk. And where they stopped the sidewalk at 5th Street, where there's a little corner park that's there at 5th and Brosh, they had reduced it down from, like, as it went by Centrum, it was 10 foot, and it reduced down to 8 foot as it went into that area. So the idea was that we ourselves would take the walk from where it hit our property line and then bring that to an 8-foot walk all the way around, which would be in concert with what happens to the walk going through the park. So one of the things that was looked at in this was that the city seems to be moving to push the main traffic flow, like not the pedestrian traffic, but the traffic flow for downtown Norfolk to be Madison and Brosh Avenues. Well, in that revitalization of Brosh, it kind of took away parking. One of the things that I think that we're able to offer in this is that for us to be able to, we have a contract on the sale with Salvation Army before they can move into theirs. They have to have a place to stay. So they're staying in at least until January 31 of this year, so that they can continue to finish the post office where they're at. That said, for us to be able to build it, it seemed like it offered an opportunity for us to get the MOB started, get it going up there, and not disturb any parking, i.e. for the bank or for Salvation Army. And we're being able to not disrupt any parking for downtown. Would give us a chance to get that up and get the building running. At the plans, we're looking at a multi-floor facility there. And then Right now, I think the disturbing part that we've run into is there's a lot of people that have considered that all of that parking lot's kind of like public parking. And it's not, it's private land. I mean, and it gets used by everybody, including the city. They use it for staging, they got people, there's adjacent retail businesses that at times it's got 30 people parking over there. And we're trying to, we can make this work that on the build, that as we build the building and as we start to bring the medical facility in there, we're gonna bring, I think there were about 150 patients a day that we bring to downtown. The revenue that comes off of it's incredible. What people can be, and they don't usually go by themselves either, so it offers a big opportunity for bringing people into downtown. It'll give us an opportunity to keep more parkings available, but not disrupt what our future looks like as far as being able to develop the property.
So you're saying that you need this land, essentially, the only reason for the land swap is so you can begin building, because the Salvation Army needs to stay there, correct?
They need to stay there,
But if we were to knock down this old Salvation Army, which presumably you would do,
that's a future plan. We have
Right.
we have future development plan.
and then what happens to that lot then when you're building?
Which
is
lot?
built?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
The lot that, or the cutout of the land of the pocket park that you're taking, what happens to that?
We're not taking anything, and I don't want. I think our words. We're
Swapping.
We're swapping land to. We're actually creating a larger park on each side, and then in that corner up in the north end, it would add another park that would just add and complete that brosh. And we're C2, and we figure that we can complete that, and it would help us as well as downtown Norfolk and finishing that off, or even the city of Norfolk, that's something that doesn't have to be invested in to complete that beautification along the corridor. And it seemed like a good trade for us for what we're bringing in. And I think it adds additional parking for us to be able to facilitate when people are, I mean, quite honestly, we're gonna have to retrain people how to park otherwise.
And without this land swap, it's impossible for you to do anything.
I wouldn't say it's impossible, it's very hard. And as far as those trees go, there's 2 trees on that. If you look, and there isn't 6 trees right in there that are mature that would be cut down. There's like 3 of them. There are trees that we would move. We can move over onto that other the other, like what was that, 2,800? I don't know, 2,900 square foot. My eyes aren't seeing that very well. I'm in the corner.
So are we talking about lot 1 and 2 when you're talking about a land swap, or is it just?
So what it is so if you look at where the dotted line goes out, it's not all the way out to where that end, but where the dotted line goes through, it's that piece that's in there and. Right. So that piece comes out, and then we add square footage to both the north and south ends. And then we add a balance into the corner for park there, but we would finish that all as one project.
I'm sorry, Val, my son graduates preschool at 8:45. I need to just get up and go. Do I need to is there anything that needs to happen so Cody can step in and take over?
I don't think so. He's the vice chair, so if you need to go, you
Okay.
need to go.
I appreciate it. Sorry about that. Thank you.
So do you have any drawings showing what the building would look like?
We do have, I don't know if we did you send anything over?
Okay.
One thing that we were looking at too, because of I was in front of the vehicle parking district and talked to them about.
Not yet. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about while we wait for email to happen?
I guess as far as sidewalk goes too, for that cutout on the left side, would you move the sidewalk then to that narrow area on the very
Yeah,
left?
and when the picture isn't really conducive for seeing what kind of space it is. I mean, it's a fairly wide track.
Okay.
And when we added that onto the drawing, if you'd see the drawing prior to, it doesn't look as narrow as what you're seeing from this bird's eye view of what we have. The sidewalk it only has one really huge bend, and it can actually make its way back in. I don't have a finished design because we were waiting for this swap to work so that we could figure out how we're going to place the building in the site. One of the things that we had even talked to the vehicle parking district about is that in this, it's going to gain. We're actually able to gain parking spots. Did you?
I don't remember exactly what they were, but I know that I think we had well over 100 in our area.
So we can facilitate with our building project being able to, if in our land swap, that we could set the building back and actually not add to the burden of parking that's downtown already. If you consider the parking just in itself, if we need 75 spaces for employees and for patient parking there, we have the ability to construct it in this design so that we can contain everybody in that development and not have any excess burden going out to the public parking. Right now, the way it currently lays out, we have 23 parking spots that are on Norfolk Avenue, right in front of Black Cow, all the way down to 8th Street. That includes ADAs. And from 11 to 2:30 every day, those things are full, plus the parking that was on the end of iHub, that's full, and the parking all the way around Black Cow is full. Now, it's bringing up Black Cow because they're the biggest consumer of parking on that end of town. The city has no assets down there for parking because it got stripped off of Brosh, and that's why everybody concentrates over to this parking lot. That being said, when on a normal day we have 15 to 20 people parking in that parking lot, just from that we're taking that overburden. And when I was in front of the parking district, I asked them if they'd done any impact studies, what iHub is going to be bringing down there when they come in. And I think it kind of bolsters our ask. That was an old one, but that building isn't it's not even that size. We're down to about a 7,200 square footprint. That one's like 10.2, I think. But that's similar to what we wanted the building to look like on the elevation. And this was a clock tower that we thought that we would like to introduce for help downtown emergency association, and actually put like LED going around it so that they can signage so that they could be using that as well.
So when you say landscaping, I mean, with this, you're gonna landscape all around the building after it's
No,
complete.
it doesn't look like this at all.
Oh,
This picture, I don't even like this picture, because the thing that we show, and this is something that, this is a conflict picture in my mind. The way it was set up is that we have a retaining wall, or like a garden wall that's built around it, and it's defined. We don't have any green space going around the building like that. It's not intermixed. It doesn't look anything like that. As a matter of fact, if you go back to, well, can you just go back to the first drawing that we had? No, to the one that was showing the land swap. Yeah, the plat. So the line, it's delineated for that park. It's done by a garden wall or a retaining wall that goes all the way around it, and literally we're not up against it, we're not in it, it's not mixed, there's not any mixed landscaping or green space at all. It's definitive. All it did is give us a chance to shift back into it about 30 feet, which is going to be picking up almost similar parking. I think we were between 20 and 30 parking spots that would actually pick up. And back to the point with downtown on the parking for us is that we thought that being able to come in and not have kind of like an albatross just set up in the middle, that we could actually conform with the city design down there. We're really looking for our design to mirror that of those around there. But also that it expressed to the parking district that after hours parking, we would work with them for availability for that and not just have it be private property. Because again, the city, I know they're working on a couple of ideas, but there is no assets down there for parking. If iHub comes in there, and we don't know with no impact studies done on what they were doing. They have faculty that's going to be there, and how many students, we don't know. But if there's 30 people, if there's 40 people, those parking spots don't exist right now. They don't exist. And they have to go somewhere. If we're 15 now and we get 35 coming in, we're at 50 parking spots that we have to take the overburden for. So part of the plan is that in this setback, in this land swap, we can actually set in and look like we've been part of the community downtown, and also offer a more conducive parking area that we can actually offer to the public, and not, we want to be good neighbors. I mean, but the question is it our responsibility to take the burden for the parking on that end of Norfolk just because we want to develop it? And it seemed like a fair trade because we're actually literally completing the beautification project for Brosh and bringing it around. And we're taking on the expense of making sure that redoing all of the green space so that it's a fluid green space like it is. And I think it'll be a beautiful parkway because it literally will be a pedestrian movement source. And you know, with the events and stuff that are downtown, and if the traffic does move to Madison and Brosh, I think the beautification of that, finishing of that corridor, and being able to move pedestrian traffic safely, and with our future plans for development on that land, I think it's a good ask, and we hope you do.
So are you saying that the additional parking you will be providing will not be a tow-away zone?
No, I'm saying, so like, if we can get this swap made, we can set back, we can get that made, plus we can offer after-hour parking, and we won't set it up as a tow-away zone for people. And, you know, I think for Dr. Verbicki is a very kind man. I mean, he's pretty generous, and that was our major concern when we were coming into here. How do we do this? Or how do you train an entire population of a city to not park there? You know?
I think that would have to be set up in the requirements, because say something happens, you know, when Dr. Verbicki's gone, how do we know that's not gonna change then?
Well, it wouldn't be a requirement for us to donate the.
Well, I mean, if we do this swap, you know, I would just hate to see 10 years down the road, then it becomes a tow-away zone.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I can't address that for, but it's not it's not city parking to be able to even put that stipulation on. It's private property. It wouldn't be any different than if you had a piece of property that you're gonna build a house on, and for 10 years, people have been parking their campers and dump trailers and dumping garbage on, and then you decide to build a house and they get upset, right? Because they can't put their stuff there. But I think we can make it beautiful, so.
Yeah, I know that without that parking, Oktoberfest wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, and there literally are no assets. I looked, when you get down for parking, you can get down to lots 3 and 4, and they're like by McMill. And those are full all day long just because of employee parking that's happening there, right? And then there are, I think, 2 and 1 that go down around the old True Value, and I don't know what that is, the Mongolian Grill, that. And I think it's so undefined, people kind of don't park in there like they should, you know? And, yeah, I don't know how that works. I know that when they get the buildings start to erected for iHub, I know it's going to concentrate that parking. But it shouldn't be our responsibility to take that burden, but we're offering an opportunity to help out.
Any other questions?
None?
Okay.
Thank you.
If there's no further discussion, I would make a recommendation to approve the final plat of Midwest Health Partners subdivision.
I second it.
All commissioners present voting in the affirmative, motion carries.
Okay. April 2024 building permit report. Val?
All right, so April 2024, single-family detached, we had 3 new permits. So as of last year, we were at 21. This year, we're at 39. No new duplexes. So last year, we had 20, and this year, we have 1. No new multifamily. Last year, we had 44 units. This year, we don't have any yet. Single-family attached, we don't have any new for this year. As of last year, we had 10, and this year we have 4. And the total building valuation's about $262 million less than last year.
We'll catch up.
We're gonna try.
All right. Any questions? No. Take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.